right now
said
for
maybe
this.
try going into like a private call.
Yeah, that might be bad.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
That might work a lot better.
Yeah, there's a lot of people saying Discord's down right now.
That's really funny. That's hilarious. So it's not even
Yeah,
us, it's
no.
Discord. But right now
Mhm.
we're holding. All right. Let's not risk this. Let's
added
let's
both of
start
you
with
guys.
Ampfy and we'll see if it stays stable. Then we can blame it on Nomad if it drops again.
Wow, okay.
Whoa, that's toxic, dude. What the heck?
We are in Scrim school after all. We have to be toxic because we're scrimming.
No, it's all
Yeah,
positivity in
true.
scrims. That's the whole purpose of this. So
My man is wearing a Trials of Osiris hat, and you're telling him not to be toxic.
that's fair. I'll give you that one. That's fair.
He's got to pull at the mountaintop. 100% down around, pull at the mountaintop.
Let's go. No,
Love to see
absolutely
it.
not. I actually don't know how to use a mountaintop.
You what?
I don't.
You what?
I don't.
You
I
what, mate?
refuse.
Do you use a controller or a mouse?
Controller. I just have to switch
Okay.
between console and PC. So,
Right. Have you considered using Bumper Jumper as a layout?
I use Puppeteer, but I'm also
What?
I do.
I'm leaving. Fuck this.
I'm an old man. Puppeteer was a pain to learn.
Fair enough. No, I've been using Bumper Jumper since the Halo days, so that's my default.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
If this keeps going, Blyken made a good point. We can do a Steam voice call.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've held steady for the last minute and a half, so let's
let's
go with Ampfy.
He said it again.
Oh no! All right, well, I'm prepared to be stopped midway. Okay. Yeah. My name is Adam, otherwise known as Ampfy on Twitch. I've been streaming on Twitch for like since 2014, but I've been doing a lot of different like content creation since about like 2010, off and on between the two. But like streaming has been consistent over the almost 7 years that I've been doing it. I streamed many different games. Let's see, Rainbow Six Siege, Counter-Strike, H1Z1, and in like midway through Opulence is when I picked up Destiny 2 and just fell in love with the game and have put on Steam I've put almost 3,300 hours in, so I'm a little bit of a completionist. I've gone for all the seals and all the triumphs minus the Iron Burden because I didn't play back then, so I was unable to obtain that. So yeah, 350 off triumphs, max triumph.
Close to all of them.
Yep, so close, yeah, so far. But yeah, I just like having a positive community and like just having a safe haven for people to hang out and have a good time. So yeah.
My chitlins are talking to me at the same time, of course. That's awesome, man. I can't believe you didn't start before Opulence. And by the way, that stayed stable the whole time. Just saying.
Nice. He just mentioned it.
We made it all the way through the intro. That's a win. I'm not saying it as a jinx. I'm saying that as a win.
I mean, I did start playing D1 Vanilla, and then I stopped right after Volta Glass and picked it back up in Opulence. So.
Yeah. Volta Glass. Oof. We'll definitely get into that one. All right. Nomad, let's go. I'm the faith this time.
I'm actually going to take my time this time and give you the full spiel. Okay. Hi, my name is AscendantNomad, and I'm your Crucible Doctor, is how I usually start my videos. So I've been in and around the Destiny community since the alpha. I'm actually the person who runs the D1 Alpha Vet channel account.
Really?
No.
I love that channel. I was like, that channel's great.
I wish. There's such a genius account.
Oh, it's so brilliant.
But I've been around since the alpha. Initially played on PS4, then made the jump to PC with everyone else in 2017. I've been helping people out in Crucible since about 2015, since Taken King, basically. And I got my start through the Crucible Sherpa subreddit, where I saw people like Dr. Lupo, Ninja with Noel, and Ramblin do Trials helps. And I thought, well, I'm not ever going to be as good as the three of them are together, but I can help them when it's not trials. So, because usually people would come to Crucible Sherpa and they would look for people to carry them, basically, right?
Mhm.
And I just thought, what about all the other days of the week? Why not I just like spend my evenings and just help people out? And originally I was a raid Sherpa. I used to be a King's Fall raid Sherpa. And then I made the jump to Crucible because there wasn't a lot of Crucible Sherpas. And I thought, well, I'm good at raid Sherpaing. I could probably do the same in Crucible. And it stuck. So I adopted the name Crucible Doctor because my style of teaching and coaching is diagnostics. It's analysis and diagnostics. So I play a 1v1 against you. I figure out what's wrong with your game. I ask you what you think is wrong with your game, and then I try and bridge the gap between the two, and then give you drills and prescribe you medication.
I
AKA,
love that.
like practices and
Yep.
stuff that you can then take into normal Crucible or take into trials or whatever, what have you. Little ideas that you can then practice on your own time. So I took a little break from Sherpang from 2017 to 2018 because I was actually god awful on PC for a year. And then I started back up again around late 2018. And since then, I've grown my Discord server and my YouTube channel to a pretty healthy place now. Got a lot of people in my Discord server who like are always looking to host scrim events, also always looking for advice. And so I've sort of built this like small team of Sherpas to help me help everyone else. And we do gameplay reviews, we give good advice, we try and make sure that we're always talking about things that can be objectively verified rather than saying, oh, I think that Fell Winters is too easy, or I think fusions are bad, or I
Right.
think that controllers are the biggest problem with Destiny, which spoiler alert,
Oh,
they're
we'll
not.
get into that.
Right.
That's the hot topic of every single episode is the M&K versus controller debate, and it's one of my
Yeah.
favorites.
So
It really
I
is.
was streaming pretty regularly until late 2019 when I basically gave it up to focus on YouTube, and that worked out quite well. And I'm on my way to 40, maybe even 50,000 subscribers before Beyond Light. Who knows?
That's huge.
So that's me.
We're definitely gonna have you guys share all your socials and stuff in chat. If you have it
Mm,
open, you can do it now too. Chat, I
sure.
want you guys to go follow both of these gentlemen. They are both incredibly skilled. That's why we have them on here. I've actually been looking forward to this one all week. I really have. I went through all of Nomad's videos and watched the your 2 second rule. Like I think about it now when I was playing trials over the weekend.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it popped in my head. It was like 2 seconds slide, 2 seconds
Right.
move, 2 seconds. And it,
See, I always try and shorten that down to 1 second or even half a second in trials because if you die, that's it, right?
yeah.
Pretty much game over.
Unfortunately, the trials map this week was a very slow playing map,
Yeah.
at least
Yeah,
in
it
my
was.
experience, anyway. And then obviously Amphy, I spend exorbitant amounts of times in your stream. I just sit there with it running. Your voice is very soothing.
Oh, thanks, man.
You got two soothing voices on the stream.
I
You got to be
know.
careful.
Yo,
Zero's gonna fall asleep, man.
He
yo,
might actually. He
everybody's gonna
hasn't
be
slept yet.
falling asleep. Let's go.
He
Be
hasn't
like me in
even.
high school.
Zero hasn't slept yet. That's awesome. So, Amphy, you specialize mostly in PvP uh, challenges, right? Is better the best way to put it. You're a completionist, but you do a lot of like low man challenges, things like that.
Oh, PvE.
Yeah.
I guess so. I don't know. I'm just mostly like I'm like that person that likes to help people but doesn't advertise it as like help because I don't know. I'd rather build a community of people that actually want to be there for me instead of like the service that I do, I guess.
Right.
Um,
Right.
but yeah, I don't know. I've been playing a lot more trials. Yeah, and
Hmm.
trying to improve with that, and like playing a lot of quick play. Like probably the past couple of seasons, I'm just a quote unquote grinder, I guess you could say.
It's perfect. Actually, it works really well. And I've noticed that too. That you've been knocking out everything from Gambit to dungeons to PvP activities to trials help last weekend. I was I was sitting around for all of it. All right, let's get into the nitty gritty. Um, what uh what is your favorite activity currently and ever in Destiny? let's bring it all the way down. What was your favorite thing, or what is your favorite thing?
My favorite thing, Rift. No, I'm kidding.
Rift was great. That you're making jokes about it.
Rift
I missed Rift.
Rift was good, but it had the Gambit problem where people didn't know how the hell to play it. And so you had a lot of whenever you'd load into a 6v6, it would always be filled with people who just didn't know what they're doing. Honestly, my favorite activity in the Destiny franchise has to be Vault of Glass.
Okay, okay.
I know that's not that's not a kosher thing to say as a
Well,
PvP
I hear
main,
it a
but
lot. I hear that a lot. I mean, I came from in Destiny 1, I came from I was a raid Sherpa, and I built a Titan
nice.
solely for Weapons of Light and taking King. That was
Nice.
I only built a Titan for that reason. And that's all I ran with. And then I found PvP, and I forgot what PvE was.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel it.
Amphy, what you got? What is your? I like hitting out the hard questions out the gate. It makes it a little easier for us. Warm up some.
I would say either. I mean, I really enjoy the Last Wish raid, and then like even though the state it's in, I do have a really good time playing Trials. But I just I wish it could be at a different state. But yeah, the concept of it is a lot of fun. So I'd say those things.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah,
Concept's great, but needs better execution badly.
Yes.
I agree. And we can actually roll into that. Do you think that it's more the way that it's played out? Do you think it's the map rotations, or do you think that it's the meta itself that that's the biggest hiccup for
Ampy, you
Trials
want to
right
go
now?
first?
It's literally a mix of both, like everything combined. Like the meta doesn't help, and then the fact that there's people that just emote peak and like sword peak the whole time until they get their supers. It's what's it's not a PvP endgame activity. It's not showing who has the better aim. It's like who can use the most cheese.
Yeah. So for me, so my opinions are influenced a lot by my clan. We talk about this in Encore a lot, where we just yes, people will play to win, and you should play to win. No matter what game you're in, if you really care about winning, you use whatever is at your disposal to win. So right now, that's Revoker, that's 600 RPM autos, that's 3 peaking. Because it helps. Because right now, the game mode itself, elimination, the goal is not so much to kill the other opponents as to not die, especially on PC with the state of cheating as it is. It's
Yes.
really just a case of not dying. And when you're not dying, what is the most powerful thing you can do in Destiny 2 in the current sandbox? It's 3 peaking.
Yep.
And it's against, first person shooting. It's against, how this game was meant to be played. TM, nice one, Bungie, using it against you. It's for me, the problem stems with elimination as the game mode. Because if say we brought back some version of Rift, or we made it capture the flag, if we brought that into Destiny, the problems with respect to Revoker would probably be nullified a little bit more, because you are running around the map, you have to rotate a lot more, and you don't sit and camp in CTF game modes. You have to move. Obviously, on mouse and keyboard, people can aggressively snipe with the Revoker because of its low range. Sorry, its low zoom and max range, so very, very generous aim assist. But you won't have this passive campy playstyle that you see now. Furthermore, CTF gives an objective, and competitive game modes need objectives. Look at every esports in the history of ever anything. And I know that's potentially opening us to that meme of Destiny 2 being esports ready, but
No,
um,
I've wanted it forever. I was actually a Halo 3 pro when I was younger. Pro,
right,
quote unquote. I played a lot of
nice.
the tournaments and LAN parties and all that fun stuff. So,
You had MLG Slayer, you had MLG CTF, you had a few of these game modes that were just about the objective, and the slaying takes a back seat. 3 peaking might be more of a thing in CTF. It might be a thing in CTF, but it won't be as big of a thing as it is now. So for me, I say start with a game mode and then remove the ability to 3 peak, because beyond anything else, that is what needs to change.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the 3 peaking,
Another one.
it stops the flow of the match, in my opinion, is what it really feels like. You know, if you're on a small map and everybody's pushing together and you all meet in the middle point, like on Burnout, everybody meets in the middle. You know, or Retribution last week. I found that a lot of the games that we played, everyone met in the center. Then it was a sprint to the center. It was a battle at the center. Rounds were quick. The flow felt a lot better than something along the lines of like how people sit outside with triple snipers like last weekend and they don't move and they play at a time
Right.
every single time. You don't really, I mean, I can't play that way personally. I'm a very aggressive player.
Sure.
It's very difficult for me. I mean, I run shotgun on controller on PC, which is god awful for movement speeds. It really is. But I mean, that's kind of the thing that, you know, I've figured out how to adapt towards that. But when we're trying to push somebody and you have 3 snipers just sitting in the back holding a lane, it makes it near impossible to keep the flow of the game going. That's just something I've noticed. Yeah. So, I mean, we talked about the 2 issues. What would you 2 recommend could potentially fix it or improve it, make it a little bit more, build the ecosystem? Really, that's what we really want. Is how can we grow the ecosystem enough to make it more fun to play for newer people, for experienced people?
So I'd say rotate the game mode. Have a couple of interesting different takes on Trials, like have a Trials of Osiris Clash version, have Trials of Osiris not Control, because Control doesn't play well in threes.
Right.
Trials of Osiris Rift. I keep coming back to Rift, and it's like at this point, it's not even a meme. I'm just like, I miss Rift.
I love Rift. It was definitely, and we'll get into that too.
But yeah, just like I think for a lot of people, you don't like for the people who aren't particularly good at Trials, you don't see them going into the elimination playlist to improve because they feel intimidated by it. And I think if it was a simple, if there was a way to simply just change the game mode for Trials, that could make it more fun. That could make it more varied. It could also entice different people to play. What if you had Trials of Osiris Supremacy? You know, that's such a fun, casual, light game mode that if you had a week where you just did Trials Supremacy, it could be a wild card. It'd be completely different from what we're used to with elimination because it's the same stale experience with no real rewards. It's yeah. I could go on, but Amphy, I'm sure you have
I think you're
thoughts as well.
making me second guess bringing you on here. Trials Supremacy. Ugh.
Hey man, I'm just throwing ideas. I'm throwing ideas. We need some ideas, man.
It's all it is Clash with extra steps.
Oh my god, are you me? Holy crap. I say that all the time. I say it all the time.
It's really
Anyways.
what it is. All right, Amphy, what do you got? What do you think would make Trials, what would make it more happy for you to hop into Trials with either stacked or helping or anything else?
I mean, it's probably not going to happen, but disabling emoting and not having heavy. I mean, it's for 2 rounds of the game, but heavy can literally determine like a swing of the momentum if they just have like, because all the heavy exotics and stuff, like, it's just, I don't know. Like, there's so many broken things with it, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Can I be an edgelord real quick?
Go for it.
I actually quite like the heavy round in Trials of Osiris because there's an objective to play for, and people
You're
aren't
not wrong.
like you're not camping as much.
Yeah, I definitely see that as well.
The thing for me is like if you're gonna 3-peak on the heavy round, well, you deserve to lose the round. If you're gonna 3-peak at all, you deserve to lose. But on the heavy round, it makes it more real.
That's true.
Give me 1 second. My dog is tearing apart my downstairs. Hold on, we'll be right back.
Oh no.
One thing I wish they would do is just like give us more control or give us options for like different heavy timers and like private matches.
Yeah, definitely. Or like being able to turn off, like, say when the Dawning or like all those events come out.
Oh my god.
Just being able to turn that off.
Did
Guardian games.
Did you play through the Revelry last year?
No. Wait. Revelry.
That was the one where you picked up like a lot of orbs, and it was active in trials and comp and everything. It was horrible.
All right, we're back. This is definitely the most interesting ScrimCast I've had so far.
Yeah, dude, we're just vibing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all good here. It's dog was running around downstairs, which he's not usually down here. We had some Discord issues where I don't know if I want to risk turning the lo-fi back on yet.
Nothing that's worth having comes easy.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
Absolutely. All right, where were we? We were talking about improvements in trials. Amphy, you were going through it.
Oh yeah, another thing I feel like doesn't need to be a thing is some of the artifact mods I feel like need to be disabled, like Solar Plexus and Oppressive Darkness. Yeah. I
Yeah.
was just wondering if that was supposed to be like intended, like
I think it
for
was.
trials.
I think it was as a general game mechanic, just as much as stasis is going to be a thing in Beyond Light.
Yeah.
It's just you're selling the experience, so you want to experience the experience in every facet of the game. So
I
it was
love experience it on Top Tree Dawn. It's screaming it across the map.
So for me,
Yeah.
I think Solar Plexus is made worse by Top Tree Dawn, which is
Yeah.
objectively the best class in the game. They have dodges, they have
Yeah.
healing, and they have a
Yep.
ranged melee. Like, get the fuck
Yep.
out of here. Sorry, am
It's
I allowed
like
to swear
the
on this?
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay,
It's a
so
mature
fucking
content
Top
when you
Tree
join in.
Dawn, right?
100%. That's my favorite, and that's actually a great segue to roll into. Let's talk about what's the best class and why is it Hunter? I mean,
Ooh, I like you. I like you. You're brave.
I've spent 1,900 hours, 2,100 hours on Hunter in D2,
Yeah.
and I think I'm up to 200 on a Warlock and maybe 5 on the Titan. So to give an idea of where I sit, I definitely have a picture of a Hunter logo behind me and a Warlock logo, and
Also, only hunters would actually buy the Trials of Osiris cap and then wear it.
that's fair. That's fair. Actually, I gotta say, I think I want to say my first week flawless to get the hat. I'm pretty sure I was trying Warlock.
Ooh.
Yeah, I was
That was
just learning it.
secret.
I was just
Was it Top Tree
learning it.
Dawn?
I refuse to answer that question. To be
What
fair,
if
I was on console at the time, so yes, it was Top Tree Dawn, and the movement was absolutely broken. But since then,
Right.
I've actually steered away from Top Tree Dawn, and in scrims, I'll either run Devour or I'll run Arc Webs.
Yeah, Top Tree Arc is really good. Those nades.
Yep,
I would
the nades
say
are in scrims, especially the nades are perfect because everyone sits very close together and pushes together.
so. I would say I think hunters have really interesting build potentials. One thing I'm going through right now is bottom tree arc with
Mhm.
frosties.
Ooh, that's like
Interesting.
instant dodge right there.
Instant dodges, like ability regen, that sort of thing. Like it just like stacks on stacks.
Yo.
So
That's smart for sure.
doing that, and also 8 like mobility spec Gemini jesters as well for the tighter matches, for the tighter
Mm,
maps. Um, I'm just thinking, what other builds do I have? I was gonna do a graviton forfeit, top tree. Sorry, graviton forfeit, bottom tree, night stalker, but the super kills me every time. So
mm,
it's a problem. You spec you try and do a max discipline build on that so that you can smoke bomb yourself and then get full nade back. It's and then paired
Mhm.
with oppressive darkness. It's an interesting build for sure. But in terms of like full like just killing potential, the best class in the game is Top Tree Dawn. It just doesn't come close, especially when you pair it with Solar Plexus. I would say most of the Titan classes are also really, really good, especially Thunder Crash. That thing lasts way too long and needs a nerf yesterday.
Even after
mm-hmm.
its nerf, it still
Yeah.
needs it. Yes, I
Well,
100%
Um,
agree with that.
yeah.
one of my favorite underrated classes is Blade Barrage for Shutdown, and
Okay,
I love running it, but it's not competitive.
it can
The
be
hit
in
reg is
scrims
too
though. It
bad.
absolutely can.
Yeah, you can, but you have to pray that your hit reg is good.
Yeah. So I have one guy that runs with me in scrims a lot. His name's Sierra. He
Mhm.
runs He runs Sentinel Shield, the shoulder charge Sentinel Shield.
Oh, I hate him.
Mm.
I hate
And
him.
he wins a lot of scrims because he just slams into people. He doesn't use his shoulder charge just running around the map like most, Striker Titans do. He saves it for if someone pops a super like an Arc Staff and charges him, he'll shoulder charge that guy. Or
And
if
it'll suppress him out.
exactly, and then we push up behind and get the pick out of it. Or he'll, he's got it timed right where he can jump up and shoulder charge the Dawn Blade out of the sky and then just punch him again, get the overshield, and run it through.
Right.
Which it actually is proven to be really, really powerful.
Yeah, I don't like him. Tell him I don't like him.
I will.
I don't know. I also like bottom tree gunslinger, just dodging away and getting your weighted knife, or just going on a streak with your knife. So fun.
Yep. And unfortunately, in scrims, that's not as feasible. I was playing with a couple of the Face It guys on Monday, and one of them spent, I think, 3 or 4 matches trying to chain throwing knife, and we lost.
Oh man.
We lost every time. He got me once with it.
Throwing knife is such a icing on top of the. It's the cherry on top of the icing of the cake sort of thing. It's just one of those things like, here's a wild card that you're not expecting. Boom, done. Thank you very much. I would never try and primary it outside of 6s.
Yep.
No, yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of those things too. Is most of the basis on this is separating more from 6s and competitive, cheese to tournament play to scrim play, that sort of thing. And it's a lot more like you can use Lucky Pants, like
Right.
oh man, I'm blanking on the name right now, but he runs Lucky Pants on his hunter.
Leclerc.
Thank you. Yes, Leclerc runs Lucky Pants, and that's his go-to as a hunter, so that he can switch and his hand cannon's always loaded.
Fantastic.
It's brilliant. It absolutely is. And then you have the guys that run Karnsteins for their warlocks versus transversives, or runs Ophidians with a shotgun. Like I do that. If there's 2 warlocks on the team, I'll run Ophidians and my shotgun, and I will just fly in, punch.
Right.
And that's kind of how I run through.
Dragon Shadow on Hunter like all the time, because that max handling is just so nice. Like, and the Wraith Metal Mail, I think it's called, is so good.
For some reason, I cannot adjust between non-Wraith Metal and Wraith Metal. I don't know what it is with my snaps, with my turns, with my rotations, but it just does not flow well for me.
Because you're used to a certain pacing that Wraith Metal Mail offers you, that you become so used to it that you incorporate it into your playstyle. And it's, for us as humans, we gravitate to things that are easy. That's how we make them habits. So when we see a better path forward, we naturally tailor our habits and our instincts to favor that. So in the case of Destiny 2, you've got Wraith Metal Mail. You're getting a buff to your handling. You're getting a buff to your everything, basically. And so instinctually, without you even realizing, you're starting to free up some time in your head for your playstyle to be a little bit more aggressive, to get back into the fight quicker. That when you get out of it, and use a different exotic, it feels really off. It's kind of like when you main Stompies for like a year and then you try something else because there's a whole game out there,
I'm
and then you
100% a
realize
Stompy crutch.
oh crap, I can't actually move. I'm slow. It's like, no, you were just fast before. So it always requires some adjustment, but yeah, getting locked into a certain playstyle, like you never want to be a one-trick pony ever, because it makes you a worse player.
Absolutely. My problem is, so I'm a Stompy main, as much as I hate to admit it, but I come from console, where breaking the field of view is how you win matches.
Yeah,
especially on console, because you can't look up fast enough for a Stompy's hunter jumping over you.
And everyone has the turning circle of a small moon.
Exactly. So that's kind of why I named that. So I'm kind of just used to it at this point. But when I run something like Dragon Shadow, when I'm running Face It and there's 2 hunters in there, I find that I can't hit my shots when Wraith Metal is active. As crazy as that sounds, I overcorrect for the snaps for my turns for snipes and stuff that I just completely whiff past.
Probably just a practice thing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm sure it's just hard for me to be like, oh yeah, or I can just say I'm sticking to stompies.
Right.
I have found that I've started testing out other builds, but I'm having a lot more fun testing things on Warlock than I am on Hunter. As crazy as that sound. And then Amphy, what do you suggest for exotics? What's your fancy? What do you like running? Any class.
Hunter is like Dragon Shadow or sometimes Stompies. Warlock, I'm pretty basic with the Ophidians or the uh, Transversives, and then usually Dunes on Titan.
Mhm.
Or I've been, I, I'm kind of, in trials, you gotta like pull out all the stops, especially if you're playing cheaters. I rock the Ursas, so I get my super back.
Yes. Good man.
That's brilliant. That is. Chat is blowing up with saying Mask of the Quiet One on Titan is super underrated.
It
Oh,
is.
I wouldn't know
It
because I
is.
don't touch Titan, but everyone's saying once they got it, they have never taken it off. Isn't it the same as One Eyed Mask, really?
No, it is. I can't remember the exact perk. I'll look it up real quick.
So I want to say with One Eyed Mask's nerf, it's pretty much exactly the same as Mask of the Quiet One. It's a baby One Eyed Mask with ability regen. Got it. Okay.
Mm.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's tailored towards grenade playstyles.
Oh, so the solar grenade spam?
Yeah, this item restores 20% of the player's health when a grenade deals damage to an enemy.
Okay. Like anytime you take damage. Good lord.
Right.
Anytime you take damage,
wow.
you get ability regen. So that's why it's banned in scrims. That makes a lot of sense.
Grants ability energy when you're damaged.
That's why people do it when they rock the take the L dance, because they're like, hey, you can shoot me, but you're not gonna kill me, and I get ability regen.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And they start chaining
Got it. It's
their slams or
making
their strikes and stuff.
sense.
Look at this. This is what this is here for. This is
Yeah.
perfect. All right. We've had our favorites on armors and loadouts. Let's talk weapons. What do you guys prefer in a competitive setting? What's your go-tos? Are you
Well, you see, if you say anything other than Dire Promise and Fell Winters, you're wrong. Because Dire Promise and Fell Winters is the best loadout in the history of the game. It's so skilled.
Absolutely
And
not.
like the 92 aim assist, well, it's really just it's the absolute minimum. You definitely need it. You need to be rocking, you need to be wall skating, you need to be jumping up in the air, you need to be Icarus modding everything, otherwise who are you really? You're
I
just
feel
some
personally
bloke
attacked
who plays.
from those statements.
Like who you trying to be? Panda? Well, clearly not. You're not rocking a Dire Promise and a Fellwinters. Like, who the hell do you think you are? Okay. On a serious note, um, I am a double primary main at Scrims, and it works really well because
When you say double primary, are we talking like what are we talking here for a double primary?
we're
Sidearm
talking
and
we're
hand
talking Cold
cannon.
Denial. We're talking Cold
Oh.
Denial and an
Oof.
SMG.
Ooh, the
Now,
calico. Okay.
I do swap between Icolos and Hero's Burden quite regularly. The nine. Okay, here's a tech tip for you. 900 RPM SMG adaptives need a nerf yesterday. They're stupid. They're really good. Specifically, 900 RPM adaptives. This is like Foggy Notion, Hero's Burden. Um, there's another one that's very popular as well in that archetype, but go try it out. It's not 900 lightweight, just
Trackless
900
waste.
adaptive. Trackless wastes.
Yep.
Wait, no, I thought that was 750. Was it?
No.
No, that's 900.
Okay, well there you go. So try that out. So that's
Another one.
my scrim loadout of choice. I personally try and stay away from special because I feel like it makes me a worse player. I know that's
Okay.
a controversial statement, but there's nothing to me at this point skilled about using a beloved and getting multiple kills. There's nothing skilled to me about using Fell Winters and getting a team wipe. I'm very much a primary player. Maybe I'm old fashioned. Maybe I'm a bit too Halo in my own DNA. Maybe I just missed D2 year one, but
Yep.
that's my loadout of choice.
And that right there is why I sit in scrims more than I enjoy anything else. Is it takes a little bit more skill for sure, and especially with the pickups that we run a lot with, you know, the band cam girls. We run a lot with the Novus boys, things like that, and they're all very, very. Anytime somebody hits with anything other than a primary, you'll instantly see in the chat window, "Where's your primary at?"
Yeah.
is kind of how it runs out.
Well,
And
just let me recover your account. I'll just play Cold Denial, and then you just shit talk them like.
I try and
Yeah,
run.
kill him in Swash. Oh,
Yep.
such a nasty roll.
I don't like Cold Denial. Out of every pulse,
Wow.
I have a Last Perdition that I absolutely adore. Don't get me wrong. I have a Last Perdition that I absolutely adore. The stability on it and the recoil is incredible in my opinion. But for some reason, Cold Denial doesn't. I was running it this morning and it did not feel right. It really didn't. So I switched back to Last
the
Perdition.
low zoom that throws a lot of people off, because when they play with 340s, even the RPM is quite slow. Like, unless you know how to play that kind of play style. To me, it reminds me a lot of Halo Reach's DMR.
Yes, that is what it
Like,
is.
very slow, measured at distance. Make sure your aim is crispy. Obviously, controller, MNK, bullet magnets, yada yada yada. But it just feels right to me. It works for me.
Absolutely, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, if I'm running scrims, I actually try to avoid Dire if I can, and I usually run Thorn. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
I love Thorn. Especially on PC. I hated it on console. The recoil pattern on it was just god awful.
Right.
But on PC, it feels very smooth, and that's kind of what I've been running thanks to Mr. Noise Tank. He runs nothing but Thorn, and that was kind of where I picked it up from.
I like Thorn as a utility weapon because it gets the opponents to think about everything a little bit more, especially when they tick.
Well, when they're ticking, they don't push lanes and they push back.
Yeah, and also it's free wall hacks in a way with the damage.
Yep. And then I'm actually trying to get away from Foam Winters a little bit, and I'm actually testing out. I've been testing the 7th Seraph lately. I have a disgusting 7th Seraph roll.
Got amazing perks.
Oh, it does, and I love running around with it because it's a lightweight. I can sprint around and get the lightweight buff on from it. Chat's talking about if you're proposing a nerf to 900s, that could affect Risk Runner as well, though.
I feel like exotics get a different pass on the tuning because no, but they do get caught up in buffs as well. Because I remember Pulses got buffed for like end of last season, right? And then Vigilwing got a stealth buff as well.
So did Graviton.
So yeah, but the thing is, Risk Runner is a PvE gun. Like, if you nerf like the pure.
I've had somebody go for it. I'll
no. Like, I understand, like, it works really well in PvP, but like the exotic ability, it's very situational for PvP, and I feel like it was definitely designed with PvE in mind.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was playing Trials last week, and I always rock Waking Vigil, because like with a Revoker, because basic. If you don't run Revoker, you're obviously just basically you get your shots baited, and then you don't have any ammo, and you have to primary. And this dude was using Risk Runner and getting the Risk Runner procced because I was shooting him with Waking.
Oh no,
that's brilliant! Actually, that really is. What's the primary submachine gun? It's Risk Runner, and then I can see it. It looks almost like a bullhorn on the front of it.
Oh, Huckleberry?
Thank you. Huckleberry is the other one.
Yeah, Huckleberry is very good.
Huckleberry as well as a 900, isn't it? I believe it is. Oh, it's a set. Chat saying it's a 750.
But it ramps up to a 900.
Not only that, but if you have the catalyst, it auto reloads on kill.
Yeah.
Insane. But you got to get kills with it, right? And it's tricky because I'd say Huckleberry is great for 6s, not so good in 3s.
I can absolutely agree with that. I absolutely can. Amphy, what do you run?
I'm pretty basic, like I said. Revoker, Waking Vigil, or like Dire
Unsubscribe.
and Beloved. I know. Okay, all right. I don't do like the whole like scrim stuff. I usually, if
Mhm.
I'm like playing Crucible, I like to go for like montage clips and stuff. I don't know. It's just
Honestly,
like
yeah.
that Call of
When you get a
Duty kid
montage
in
of
me.
scrims, that's where
So,
Sure,
it's at.
no, absolutely. This is a. Can I say another hot take
uh-huh.
real quick? In defense of you, Amphy, this is a casual game.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
dare you leave my podcast?
I don't know. I've just never like the whole scrim thing. It's like, well, I could keep track of how many kills I'm getting in like quick play, or I could play scrims and not have the counter go up. It's a petty thing, but like, like it's tracking like progress, how you're
So
improving,
you
in my
probably care
Yeah,
opinion.
about KD too,
yeah.
is what you're saying.
Like, yeah.
Let's talk KD then. Do
Oh,
you? This
I'm a
is my
support
favorite.
player.
You're a support player, so you
I
you
I
farm
have maybe
support
I have
tabs.
maybe a 1 KD. I play for the win. I will get farmed as many
Okay,
times as
so
I
that is
need to
not
in
that's
order
not a support
to
player as
get the
much.
win.
Yeah, that's not as much a support player as that is a bait player, and that's where I sit actually.
Can
Is
I? No, there's a better term for this, guys. Like you guys need to see marketing professionals. The term for this is power bottom.
Power bottom. Okay, fair enough.
don't get me wrong, I never bottom frag. However,
There's games I pop off.
I definitely sit about the 1.04, 1.4 range KD in
Sorry, say
most
that again.
situations. I sit in about a 1.04 to a 1.4 range at the end of games.
Okay.
But I also
So
play a lot of I play with a lot of insane players that sit at 2 pluses.
yeah. So my lifetime is, I think it's 1.57 or 1 point somewhere around there, like high 1.5s. Then the K80 is around 2.1 lifetime. Lately though, since the change to CBMM, like I don't think I think I've averaged around a 3 or maybe a 3.2. It's just remarkably easy now with CBMM and quick play. In trials, I'm around a 1.1, like I'm average-ish. Um but my playstyle is aggressive support is what I'd say, or more specifically shot callers.
Okay.
Um yeah. So what I do is I like to fill in the gaps for my team. And what that means is basically say, okay, if we were playing in trials, okay, let's say Bobby is the entry fragger. You're gonna run in, you're gonna try and get the first pick. Amphi is gonna try and stick with us and not get debated into dying first. Fair?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
I would operate the space in between. I'd move between the lines between the two of you, and I would attempt to support you both as best I can. The two main characteristics you need for this kind of playstyle, which I've only seen in a few other players, one is very high game sense. You have to understand what's going on around you all the time. You have to understand your teammates' situations as much as you understand yourself, and you have to be able to sacrifice your own playstyle for the sake of the team. So for me, as much as I love being a cold denial main and SMGing people at stupid ranges, um, I will put on a thorn and a shotgun if I have to. I'll put on a snipe if I have to. I'll do
Mhm.
whatever works best for the team and basically sacrifice myself so the team can win. And I'll try my best to get I'll try my best to get kills, but my primary job is to make sure you don't die. So I let you have the glory as much as I can.
You're the cover. That makes perfect sense.
Kind of, yeah.
I sit kind of in the same boat, except for I always tell everybody that my callouts are a lot better when I'm spinning around my ghost.
Yeah.
That's kind of where it sits at. Is I'll run in, get a pick of one, trade, and then spin around my ghost and make the callouts for the other two. Kind
Mhm.
of the same idea, except for I traded at the same time.
Yeah. So like I came from Siege before I played like Destiny 2, and I was always the quote unquote hard breacher. So I was always the one that was like planting the bomb, making sure that like the site got opened, just anything to make sure that the round was won. And like even if like I got the bomb planted and then like still got killed like right after and we won the round, that was basically like my job. So I guess it's kind of just translated over into like trials and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
I mean, it makes sense. It really does. A lot more slow playstyle than what I'm used to. So we
Yeah.
would actually play really well together because I would push and you'd follow.
Yep.
I play a good bait. All right, let's
I'm good with team shotting too, though.
let's dive into weapons. What if you could pick any weapon from D1 pre-nerf? What would it be and why?
Hawkmoon. I
Okay,
feel like that's an obvious one.
that's a boring one.
It is a boring one. No, I wouldn't say it. I won't say Hawkmoon. I need some time to think about it. Ampfy, you go.
I didn't
That's a
play
good one too.
D1, so yeah. I played D1
Okay.
vanilla. Remember?
Pre nerf in this current meta, Vex Mythic Last.
Ferret said the same
1000%.
thing, and I said the same thing. That's really funny. Mythic
Like
Last
it's
was pre-nerf was just filthy.
it was insane.
It was so much fun.
I got it, and I got it from a run, and then the next day they nerfed it. So sorry, it's actually my fault. My bad.
No, thanks. I'll remember that one. That's what I would love to see. The other one, yep, Hammond said
NLB
it
is a
too.
good show. Yeah.
Yeah, MLB was a great one. That was my go-to in trials in D1. Was the No Land Beyond. I was not a fan of the Icebreaker. Hot take there. I didn't enjoy Icebreaker.
I didn't either, but it had a great scope. It had amazing aim assist, and you got free ammo.
Yeah, I mean, so you get that with Revoker now.
Hey, got him.
Yep. I mean, let's be real. I use No Land Beyond a lot, and if I was sniping, my sniping go-to, and if I could bring back any weapon, legendary or not, if I had to pick one and one only, it would be the Harrowed Defiance of Yasmin.
Interesting.
I don't know
So
what
out of
it was about
everything,
that. Out of
you pick
everything,
a scout rifle.
no. The Defiance of Yasmin was the sniper rifle.
It was a sniper. You're right. You're right.
The
You're right.
Taken King.
Yeah.
And the Harrowed one felt so good. I used it in PvE. I used it in PvP. That never came out of my energy slot.
Interesting. No, I definitely mained the Defiance of Yasmin. I didn't main the Harrowed one. I never could get it to drop for me.
Yeah, the aim assist on it was insane.
For sure. Yeah.
It was definitely, especially the hard one. The aim assist on it was just redonkulous. I loved it more than the 1K voices, or not the 1K voices, but the 1,000-yard stare. I don't know what it was, but it just felt so smooth. I would love to see either a replica of that or that come back out of everything. Grasp of Nullock was another really good one.
Grasp of Nullock was a fantastic one. I really loved pre-nerf Vanquisher 8. It would be a 450 now, but just the way it felt. I used it well after it was bad because it just felt like a great gun, to be honest.
I'm actually not familiar with that one.
That's the new Monarchy auto rifle.
Oh, that's why I was dead orbit to the end.
Why am I here? What is
I was a hunter. Hunter, dead orbit, they always go together. Let's be real.
True.
I don't know that armor set for New Monarchy on Hunter.
It was nice on red.
Maybe it's just me because I like red, but like I don't know.
Kvostov, I'm guessing, is going to come back. I have a feeling
it can't not. They're doing all this nostalgia about the Traveler giving us a gun with Traveler's Chosen.
Yep.
Oh, it blew my mind. So I've never played Titan. I was Hunter when I was playing D1, and I went back in like January, and I started a D1. Like it's fresh, but it's not fresh because I'm not gonna like go in my vaults and take weapons from like my Hunter. But I started a Titan, and my friend was like, "Yeah, dismantle your Kvostov," and it like opened like an exotic quest. And I'm like, "What? Like what kind of sorcery is that?" Like
yeah,
I had no idea.
The buff Kvostov was nutty. That was a super fun one. And for you as a PvE player, I would take Zala Supercell back.
Yeah, I'd go.
Isn't that basically Risk Runner from what I've heard?
It's Risk Runner with further range and more stability.
Okay.
But the chain reached further and it bounced.
Oh.
So it would travel between enemies and bounce all the way around. So like when you're doing I'll hold off on when you're doing it because that'll be a fun segment to go into. What if you could bring back any activity? And I have a feeling I already know what Nomad's going to say. What would you pick? Any activity, and don't pick a raid. Pick something other than a raid. What would you pick?
Seva patrols.
Diva patrols. Interesting.
No, I'm joking.
I was like, interesting. Okay. I'm tracking.
Any activity, not a raid.
Mm-hmm. It could be a PvE activity. It could be a PvP activity.
From D1 or just generally?
Yep, we can do both, but mostly D1. I like to hear
D1.
the nostalgia factor, but I mean, Ampfy is going to probably have something from D2 more than D1.
From D1, probably Sparrow Racing League.
No, love it. SRL is amazing.
That I don't understand how that's not been a thing, especially when they were selling like this like athletic looking SRL looking stuff for Guardian games.
I'm betting you, I would put my entire channel on the line. SRL is going to come back, mostly because all of the sparrows still come with instant like disabling boost, and you can spin and rotate and boost left and right. That's all still coming out. So if they didn't want to bring that back, I don't think they would have included that on the sparrows.
True.
Just from my perspective on that, I mean,
or they got lazy and just imported a bunch of code.
That's true. Well, they said it's not coming back now. If you read some of the notes from DMG and Reddit and stuff, he says it's not coming back now.
Okay, that's promising.
Yeah, that's what they said in Forsaken, I believe, because we were talking about when the Tangled Shore came out, how it's got that back track that feels like Sparrow Racing. We're like,
what about the new dungeon, Rainbow Road?
Rainbow Road is another great one. It's there.
I make first timers walk that for the lols.
I usually try and one run it without letting go of boost.
Nice.
It doesn't go well. Just saying.
No, I can imagine not. No.
It definitely doesn't go well. Amphy, what do you got? What would you bring back, if anything?
Well, like they haven't really taken much stuff away since I started playing. So I'm trying to think.
I know it's a little bit harder, but I mean, they took away things like Iron Banner play modes, survival play modes. They took away.
Okay, I got it. Okay, listen. Bring back Iron Burden so I can get max triumph score. Thank you.
No.
I would suffer through it. I am 350 points off max triumph.
All right, you're a
Nomad.
completionist. I forgot.
I am. That's literally. I'm at 129,210, and it's 129,660, I believe now. Or no,
wait, you've actually
560.
got nearly the max.
Yes, I have every seal. I have every seal. I have every triumph. Yes.
My man sat through Reckoner.
Oh yeah, that was one of the first ones I got.
Oh man, I salute you, and also will gladly pay for your therapy when you need it.
Yo, thanks, man. I appreciate the support.
Are you kidding? No, let's be real. Reckoner's not near as bad as Chronicler, in my opinion.
What?
Chronicler's pretty easy. You just do the truth to power cheese. Easy peasy.
Yeah, but it's every single week.
Bobby.
No, it's every 3 weeks.
Right, every 3 weeks. Sorry. So it takes what, a grand total of like 13 weeks altogether to get it done.
Do you know what you can do in between those weeks? Is you could play other games that bring you joy and happiness and make you fulfilled in your life generally, or you could, take up cooking or knitting or something that maybe video editing, maybe get a job with a video editor as a video editor for someone else. As long as you just don't have to play Gambit,
Yes. I drained myself of Gambit getting this 1% delirium, and I can't stand it anymore.
Yeah.
I can't. I hate going to edit mode.
So I don't entirely hate Gambit. I I don't know. There's a lot of fun things to do with I, fun in quotes, okay? Like running like a 1-2 punch build and just, clearing the whole wave with, with ease and going through the portal and invading and getting your army of ones and stuff. I don't know. I do it for like the weekly bounties because Bright Dust is too good.
Yep.
I
Bright
do
Dust do
cringe
good.
when I see the Might of the Traveler, though. That's a monk S.
No doubt. That's a rough one. I think
Mm-hmm.
mine out of I gotta interrupt real quick from my thought because Pitch says, is Amphy trying to convince us or himself why he keeps doing it? that was
It's
that was
okay,
worth
Amphy.
stopping for.
It's okay. Stockholm syndrome is a very real thing.
It is. That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite dad jokes of all time. It was. I read a book on Stockholm syndrome. It was terrible at first, but by the end, I enjoyed it.
Oh, fuck off.
I think if I could bring back anything from D1, and it could be the rose-colored glasses, but the Ala Cool strike, the Dark
Yeah,
Blade,
actually, yeah.
was.
That was a
I've
great strike.
repeated that strike so many times, and it never got dull. It really didn't.
Tell you what, it wouldn't be nearly as scary on PC because part of the scariness was the fact that you couldn't really see much. You couldn't turn around as much.
Yep.
You didn't have a good field of view or anything like that. It was a straight up horror movie.
It was. It was very much as it was the way it played, and like it had every facet of a raid, in my opinion.
Mm,
It did. The way it
the
played
long
out was
walkways.
the long walkways, the mechanics, the
Mm,
bridges, the giant room where you have to hit you have to hit the servitors across the map,
right.
and then you finally drop down at Alakul um, after beating the whole roll of thrall that run through you, and that's where this tangent came into was the Zalo Supercell on that bridge was brutal. You'd hit the first
Yeah.
thrall, you'd kill him, and it would chain entirely down the line, and it would take out 100 and something thrall. It was terrible, but it was fun. It was a ton of fun. And then I think the other weapon I would probably bring back is the Touch of Malice. Call me crazy. I use Touch of Malice in PvP.
No, I can see it. It was a very interesting weapon. It was fun to use for sure. I'll
It-
never I'll never badmouth anybody's like weird um weapon selection because I think there's a little bit too much like groupthink when it comes to like what weapons are the best. One of my favorite creators right now is Frostbolt because he
Mhm.
just does insane shit with the worst loadouts,
Mm-hmm.
and it opens your mind and just like gets you to think about, well, this game is it's a game that prioritizes fun and it puts fun things in the game for you to try out. So go try them out.
So, do you feel that Bungie does forced metas?
No.
Really?
I don't think that like I think they have an idea. I think perhaps in year 3 there's a hint of it. Um especially when it comes to PvE with this like when they did the sniper change for Shadowkeep and then they
Mm-hmm.
reverted it because they for whatever reason thought
Yeah,
actually
what
no.
was that?
I don't know what happened there. But when it comes to PvP, I don't think there is like there is definitely an onus on Bungie to keep the experience fresh, to keep people playing, to keep them engaged. I don't think they quite have it down to a silent science like they would in Apex Legends or Valorant or CS:GO or anything where they specifically tune certain weapons. Right now, as we've seen, they can only tune by archetype. And in
Sure.
very, very specific use case scenarios, they can cancel perks or disable guns or something like that. That being said, I think they do think about weapon balancing, and I think they've done a very good job overall, save for a few
Interesting.
outliers. It's not like they've accidentally stumbled upon this like really interesting meta where pretty much anything can be viable except for 150 scouts. By the way, F in the chat for 150 scouts.
I would say more than
Um,
150 scouts. Let's 140s, 110s, 180 hand cannons.
140s, 110s, but here's the thing: is like 140s I can do numbers with because it's a pacing thing. If I duel 150, I will just find some cover and then try and outsmart them. 110s need some love; they're gonna get some love.
Hmm.
150 scouts are basically outclassed by 340 pulses because they operate in the same range, and the maps aren't designed for 150s anymore. Say for like Midtown and Vostok and a few other
Yep.
big maps.
With the exception
Um,
of Jade. Jade is, I think, the
Jade is Bay.
only exception of the rule.
Right. Yeah. So the original question was like, do they do crucible bouncing? You said.
Do you feel like they have forced metas?
Do they have force metas? I don't think they have force metas at all because I think the fact that so many things are viable now, and you can do all sorts of crazy combinations of builds, like me doing double primary and dropping 20, 30 kills in scrims. I feel that's pretty good evidence of the fact that they're trying to make everything work, and I think they've done a good job.
Sure. That makes sense. Scrims, yes. I would still, in my opinion, I think that they did a little too much with the 600 auto rifle. I think
I agree there.
if they could have picked any auto rifle to force into most
The
use,
world drop.
I would have liked to see 450s personally. I would have loved to see Uriels get a buff versus
Which is really insane considering Uriels can roll with quick draw and moving target.
absolutely. But
Mm,
it's a very specific role, and it's not sold by every single vendor in the tower.
true.
It's
They
one of those
should
ones
have
that you
kept
kind of farm for.
gnawing behind Reckoning, just like it
I
was
agree.
Sure,
with
absolutely.
spare rations.
Yeah, absolutely. I 100% agree with that as well. I think 600s in the place that they're in, you can put a 600 auto on of honestly any roll on it, and I've tested this with summoners, and you can outgun TTK wise 90% of the Crucible.
Yeah, 100% because it's forgiving. There's aim assist, bullet magnetism, that sort of thing. The thing is with 600s though, you have to be out in the open for you to get a kill. Like you can't really peek shoot with it like you can with hand cannons. So if you're gonna have a straight fight between
Suros
HC,
spin up says otherwise.
so yeah, Sura spin up is an anomaly, but that's you're talking about an exotic there, so you can't really
True, very true.
do an equivalent there. Um, when it comes to like what I think people miss a lot of the time is that when it comes to time to kill, yeah, the stats are one thing, but they don't ever paint the full story. We're not talking about playstyle, we're not talking about builds, we're not talking about different classes, that sort of thing. Not that it should really factor in. The biggest thing is playstyle. Um, Hand cannon being able to peek shoot and doing a lot of burst damage
Hmm.
makes it the superior option for team shooting, in my opinion. Uh, Alters are great for sixes, and they're good in trials too. But if I was going to enter a $10,000 tournament against G1 tomorrow, I'd
Hmm.
rock a hand cannon.
I mean, I see that. Yes, and I've seen a lot of. I mean, G1 specifically. We'll attach onto that. Hunter likes to run his tournaments with Suros allowed. He likes to
Okay.
run his tournaments with really strange loadouts, still approved.
Mm.
And Suros was doing really well. It was just he was outgunned because it was a crutch weapon more than it was a skilled playset.
What do you mean by
Um,
crutch weapon?
it's easier to spam a Suros in the corner and then step out, hit your shots, step back.
Okay.
Because you're not going to peek twice as it's spun up because the TTK on a Suros, correct me if I'm wrong, is less than 0.4 on full spin.
That is correct. And it's pretty lethal as a neutral game too because it's
Mm-hmm.
still a 600 RPM.
Yep.
So if you use it like a normal 600 RPM and treat the spin up as a bonus, you should be able to do numbers with it. Like
Oh,
you should be
absolutely.
able to do fine with it.
I see it. I see it happen a lot. That's why it's banned from scrims. That's why all 600s are, and it's only 600s that are banned currently.
Mm,
I know guys that run Valkadin. I know guys that run Uriels, but
mm.
it's 600s of the archetype itself that's the biggest issue.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That right there is where I feel like Bungie might have done a bit of a forced meta. Um, is they gave it a little bit too much love. It's got further range than a pulse, and it's got too much forgiveness in bullet spam.
So I don't think that's necessarily evidence of a force meta. I think that's evidence of a lack of testing at the highest levels.
Okay.
Bungie doesn't I to my knowledge, Bungie does not have playtesters who are supremely skilled players to the level where they would say, you know what, it's Wednesday night, I'm gonna play some scrims with the boys. I don't think there's testers. They have probably have very good crucible testers, but to my knowledge, there's no like hardcore people like us, right?
Right.
Um, so we can min max every weapon in the game. We can min max the situations in which it would be useful, just like Redeem min maxes guns for PVE, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, they're more concerned with the PVE side of things, in my opinion, because that affects world's first races, that affects challenges, that affects like sort of the flagship marquee activities that they advertise consistently throughout the course of a season. No, they have never shown an interest in scrims. They've never shown an interest in high end PvP beyond Trials of Osiris. And the
Yep.
Trials of Osiris 600s are overshadowed immensely by three peaking and Revoker.
Yes and
From
no.
from my perspective, like the 600 tuning and the decisions made for the 600 tuning remind me a lot of 140 tuning in Shadowkeep, the
Sure.
double body 140s.
Yep.
It's just it was like an oversight. It didn't feel like it
Another
was
one.
super broken or super malicious or super like intentional. It just was just like, oh, well, damn, oops,
Yeah, we went a little too far.
right.
Was kind of yeah, I could see that. I really could. I go off of mostly Trials Report, and usually what sits at the top of Trials Report every single week is a gnawing hunger.
Revoker, Summoner, Annoying Hunger, yeah.
Yep. But in 99% of the time, with the exception of a map like when we played Anomaly,
Mm,
the primary weapon at the top of the leaderboard every single time by a large margin after obviously the hard light nerf is gnawing hunger.
Yeah.
yep.
That's kind of the that should give some sort of an evidence of they made it too easy to get,
Yep.
they made it too forgiving.
Plus,
Also,
like season 5's Annoying Hungers were still viable, right? Like they have a 1060
mhm.
power cap.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Also,
Absolutely.
don't be surprised if you see a lot more Bastions this weekend in Trials because of the exotic Cypher smile.
Mm-hmm. I've
Shit.
had my Bastion. I haven't even touched
Yeah.
it.
Oh, yeah. No, I have it too. But
It's a lot more. It's a lot more viable on console. Bastion is
I don't
horrid
get
on
near a
console.
Bastion user if I don't have to. Like, I sit back and try and snipe them, but it should not kill you with one of the. It's like what, 3 cartridges or whatever it shoots at you? 3 like pellets?
Two,
Like
two
2
pellets to kill.
pellets?
Mm-hmm. Two to kill.
3 to get a super.
Yep.
Yeah, like
It's two to kill, three to get a super. Zero, can you correct that? Nomads is a YouTube channel. He put it in here. It is AscendantNomad1. Sorry, I wanted to correct that to make sure that the ScrimCast command was updated correctly.
Yeah, no worries.
Nomad, will you
has
drop
anyone tried
your command back in there?
Yeah,
duty
I'll type it
bound in like Crucible? Because that's a 600 RPM as well.
in. I don't mind it, but I would not use it over something like Summoner or something.
Fair enough.
Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. There you go, Zero. Thank you. That right there is Nomad's channel. Why have you ever thought about coming back to streaming?
Do you know what? Like okay, no. Wait, let me flip this on you for a second. Why are you asking me this?
Because I noticed that you're doing your Sunday school in your Discord
Sure.
every Sunday.
Yeah.
Why not open that up for everyone to be able to see as well, more than just people? Is there a reason that it's people in your Discord? Because I know a lot of people would love to tune into that and just watch and lurk
Yeah,
and
I mean, I do
listen.
stream it to the Discord. But honestly, it's a combination of things. Like the Discord's open. If you want to join, you can join.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody's stopping you. Um, but I don't stream because I do have a personal goal that I want to reach a certain level of YouTube subscribers. I don't really want to stream before that. Um,
Okay.
and it's just something like because I quit Twitch for YouTube and I want to reach my goals with YouTube before I come back. I'm not a full-time creator. I do this very, very occasionally. I work a 60, 70 hour job. Um, so I don't have the time, to be perfectly honest. And I do it. I, I don't make YouTube videos regularly either. So between what little time I do have, I'd rather spend that time
Sure.
um, working on YouTube. That's pretty much the only reason. And yeah, Oath's in the chat here.
Yep. Oath was just
Yeah,
talking about that.
Oath does stream it, and I stream it to the Discord because it's there. It's easy to set up.
Right.
And we have talked about like potentially like just coming back to Twitch just to host it, but at this moment, it's not on the cards.
Sure. I mean, that was just something I was wondering about when I was trying to find some VODs to play for you.
Oh yeah, no, you won't find them.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't able to, but I've got your YouTube videos on a constant roll right now. But I was just curious about that because I mean, somebody with your skill set and your knowledge base, I feel would do very, very well on
I appreciate that.
on the platform. I do. Just going through your videos, like this is probably the third time I've gone through all of your videos as much as I.
What?
Yeah, I gotta study who I'm interviewing. Let's be real.
Oh, true. Okay, so it's not because you like them. You just had to do your homework. I got it.
I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed it. I did.
No, I'm just busting your balls. Don't
Yeah.
worry.
I'm not a full-time streamer either. I'm not a full-time content creator. I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
I have 3 kids. I have a wife. I also am part founder of an org, so I spend a lot
I
of
mean,
time.
okay,
trying to
listen,
improve
buddy, you
that.
can just tell us you main bygones, all right? You don't have to go
I
into such
definitely do
detail.
not. I don't mean bygones. I don't. I have a god roll bygones. I don't mean bygones.
Bygones Jotun?
Absolutely not. I don't have a Jotun. I refuse to get it.
Oh.
Refuse. I refuse to get a Jotun. And the only reason I have a Bastion is because a buddy of mine recupped it for me.
Ooh. Well, Trials had recov. Fits the bill.
Yeah.
If it talks like a duck.
I mean, if it doesn't, so I do help. I do trials help. I do comp help.
Yeah.
I do not charge for any of it ever. I
Yeah,
refuse
no,
to charge
absolutely
for it.
not. Like it's for me, I'm very much against recov culture. I think it's a negative thing for the Destiny 2 population because it's already so low. Especially on PC, when you go to high brackets of SBMM, I don't think there's enough incentive for the average player to play comp. And then you
Sure.
put SBMM on it, and then you have the recap scene going on. Some people want the rewards, but they're unwilling to go on the personal journey that it takes to get good at the game.
Sure.
Which is emblematic of 2 things. First of all, Destiny 2 does have a somewhat of a skill curve to it. And secondly, people care about the game so much that they like it's just so weird, man. Like they do care about the game, but they don't want to play the game because the state of the game is not good for PvP. It's just like the most heartbreaking catch 22, or maybe that's not the right term, but I feel like you get what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, absolutely. So I had a lot of the same feelings back in year 1, and then I was playing with some friends, and they had a family member that had severe mental disabilities and could not play PvP. Could not, but they wanted Recluse. They were
Right.
very, very good at PvE, and it was also when Recluse was incredibly powerful. It was, most LFGs, if you didn't have Recluse Mountaintop, they wouldn't let you on.
Right.
They wouldn't even let you play on it.
Galahorn 2.0.
Yeah, they wouldn't let you play on it at all. So they asked me about it, and they said, I wouldn't ask this otherwise. And that right there to me was, some people cannot get things like Recluse, cannot get things like Mountaintop. And hopefully now that they're sunsetting stuff, they add in new pinnacles that are worth grinding for. But I mean, I help people get their Komodo. I help people get their Recluse, their Mountaintops, things like that, just so that they could do what they were good at.
Sure.
It's one of those things where they spent 3, 4, 5 seasons and they couldn't even hit Fabled. And it's just their ability to move and play against other people, and it's a little different than PvE where you're just spamming ads.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a turning point for me, where it was, I'm happy to help people. I'm happy to recov for low man like that. It's no different if I'm playing you on their account versus if I'm playing on my account personally. In trials anyway, obviously.
So let me clarify my stance on the recov then, because I do agree with what your stance, and I think that's very honorable and very kind of you to do that for your friends. when it's for people who have a legitimate reason to perhaps seek a little bit of help, whether it's medical, whether it's like anxiety or whatever issues they may be going through. Like for me, I've recubbed for my friends who are literally just like the only reason they couldn't play is because they were out of town for a funeral or they were in hospital or something like that. Like if there's a proper reason why they can't play, then I'm not against recups. It's the paying for it because you're too lazy to improve recups.
Absolutely.
Paying
Yeah,
paying
I
for it
agree.
because you're too scared. Paying for it because you're you don't want to go through the challenge, like you're afraid of challenge. Like that's the stuff I don't care for. So
Sure.
the line in the sand is not as black and white as I made it out to be.
Yeah.
Apologies for that.
So I'm gonna touch a little bit more on it too, for the chat as well. There is an entire directory of people that do free help, free
Mm.
recups, free carries. If you scroll down to the bottom of the directory, you will find people with 1, 2, 3 viewers that are just saying, "Hey, I'll do help any
Yeah,
day."
we do it in Encore as well, but we do it so that you play with us.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, Crit's a good buddy of mine too, and I've watched. I've been around with him since before Revere, or not Revere, but um, oh man, well,
Ravenous.
thank you, Ravenous.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been around with him since before Ravenous, and Crit's a good dude. So is Glow.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, I know
They both
Glow.
are. They're both
They're
good eggs.
they're both very very strict on, you're not paying me for this. I'm helping you.
Right.
I'm helping you learn how to play it, and I'm helping you through it. Um, they're a great example. They're kind of where I got my example from. I got them from, Crit and Glow and Vixel and Halo. Those guys are kind of my inspiration on never charge for it. Just help them out.
Well, here's the thing: is you can't build community if you're trying to emphasize the transactional nature of whatever it is you're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like it's just like, okay, you're a service now. You're not a person.
Exactly.
You're just a utility, a tool to be
Mm-hmm.
used and then discarded. And that's not how you make friends. That's not how you build communities. Like you hang out in Crit and Glow's chats. Like they're super nice people, super cracked at the game, and they're so humble about it as well. And like I'm very biased because I did recruit them for Encore, but like I have nothing but all the time in the world for people like them and for everybody else in the directory who goes out of their way to spend some time to help others, whether it's PvE, PvP, or Gambit.
Oh, absolutely.
To put
Yeah.
that in a separate category. But yeah,
I mean, there's
Yeah.
guys like Benj and girls like Shib
right,
that do Gambit help,
hundred
and they
Mhm.
percent,
never charge for it. And it's admirable. Words hard. It's admirable to have any of that. In my opinion, is anyone from their facet that has a skill set that other
right.
people can't do it. You
It's
know.
like whatever happened to just playing with friends, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Apparently, people want to pay for that because they can't find friends.
It's
Question mark?
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it really is the ecosystem of the game itself, where it's in this low, especially. A lot of my friends right now, if I didn't stream and play with the people that I did and meet the people that I have,
Mm,
most of my original friends have moved on to Warzone or moved on to something, something else, whatever they could find
mm.
for the. Honestly, Among Us has been doing incredible
Numbers, yeah, yeah,
on the
yeah.
directory. It's holding the viewership 5 times the amount of Destiny on a day to day basis,
Yeah, 100%. It's
and
just
it's a
the
party game.
flavor of the week right now.
Yep. And before
Yeah.
that,
Same with
it
Fall
was,
Guys.
yeah, exactly. Fall Guys was before that. Um, it's just one of those things where it's like the current state of the game, we have to find something to keep ourselves happy with it and making us want to come back every day. And that's what I've found in scrims, and I'm hoping that we can get others in chat to feel the same way. Over time, that's kind of the purpose here.
To touch on the whole like Glow thing.
Mm-hmm.
I met him through Crit, and I had never played Trials. I played a little bit of Elim, and Glow helped like me improve so much. Like what I learned from him, I was I started out as like a shotgun main.
Mm-hmm.
Like all I did was ape with a shotgun, and then like I just like started sniping, and that man like taught me so much stuff. He was always like so, like you said, like humble and like understanding, and like
Yeah.
really gave really good constructive criticism, didn't just put you down. He's a really, really good dude.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, he is absolutely. I forget. I think I found Crit on Twitter one day. He posted something about something he was dealing with, and I ended up popping into his stream randomly because he posted it on Twitter. And I'm beyond glad I did. I found him there, and then I followed the chain through Vixel. Um, Crit introduced me to Vixel, introduced me to Glow, Normal Pitch, Anchor Light, all those guys, and that's kind of where we built from. So let me open it up to chat real quick. This is going to be the portion where they're going to ask questions in chat, and then we can talk about it for maybe, we'll say, 10 minutes or so, and then we'll jump into practical knowledge. We'll jump into the map of the week, and
Sure.
we'll run it out. Chat, what questions do you have? I know Inspirational has been chomping at the bit. He's a very active Face It player. And he likes to learn specifics on mostly lanes and along those aspects. So, Inspirational, what you got first? Because I know that you've been dying for this. Will I become a god on M and K?
Practice.
There's this not sponsored, but there's this lovely program called Aim Perfect, and
Are we talking about the $24.99 or the 30?
well, they have a free trial, you see, and you can get your money back guaranteed. No, fuck them.
For real. That was a cap. That was a cap. Nobody clipped that.
King Lycaon has to
Like
be
on.
banned.
Yep.
Yeah, he's the GG. Get baited.
GG's good to see you. Oh, I both. Anyways, yeah. I mean, how do you get good with M and K? I would say continue playing with it personally.
Ooh, I
Um,
can answer this one.
do it, please. What you got? I mean, both of you play M and K. I cannot answer this one. I am a controller player, so
Ampy, do you want to go first or?
I mean, just practice. It definitely does help. Like if you work on like your reflexes and like Kovacs and stuff, that's not the end all be all, but Kovacs definitely helps. And just getting that muscle memory down. It's the same with like using a controller. Honestly, you learn like the muscle memory of everything, and yeah.
So a little training exercise I used to give myself when I was trying to get better in D2 year one was using a 150 scout in PvE. That shit is hard. It does not work. So you really have to be mindful of your movement, your shots. It helps you become a Destiny player. Helps you become a better Destiny player if you make PvE hard for yourself by using non-meta stuff, and it makes you really emphasize the crits. But honestly, something that really helped was just playing other games. Just like for me, when your base mechanical skill is very low, literally anything will help. It's just about playing more games, getting the practice in, getting used to moving your muscles in different ways, getting that muscle memory going. Will not happen if you don't know which muscles to engage. So whether it's Fortnite, whether it's Apex, whether it's Valorant, whether it's CS or Destiny, like
H1Z1, the OG
H- yeah,
OGBR.
all of that, 100% all of that. Like play games, and then once you feel like you've got a decent aim, then start working on perfecting it in your game of choice.
Sure. That makes perfect sense. Inspirational asked this question. So it says, what do you do in this situation? Your team is losing pretty bad in the scrim match. What do you do to help your team bring it back mentally and in the actual game? How do
Got to
you
keep the
how do
morale
you coach them
high
up? How
starting out.
do you take
Got to be
charge?
positive. You got to figure out what you guys are, if you guys are pushing um like on your own and you're causing to just get like crashed on by multiple people, then you got to, just kind of learn from your mistakes.
I agree with pretty much all of that. I'll take it one step further. Is that when I do play in scrims with teams that are perhaps on the uh, weaker foot, when they're on the weaker foot, and either we're outmatched by gun skill or we're just playing against some very good players. What I just say is like, look, we run together, we hold hands. because they can't kill all of us at the same time, which unless they're in a super, obviously, then that's a different
Yep.
story. But
Or they're an
there's
overload champion.
yeah, but there's something a lot scarier if you're on a team and you suddenly see 3 people. Like, it doesn't matter what stage of the game you're at, it doesn't matter what the scoreline is. If you see 3 people, you're running the fuck away, unless you have 2 people next to you. It's just survival in numbers, and having a buddy next to you shooting with you and maybe even dying with you. It just keeps the morale good. It just says, look, we're not gonna lose because of any one particular person. We're gonna lose together. And it's emphasizing that togetherness and that camaraderie, that no matter what, we're going through this thick and thin together. We'll lose together, we'll
Yeah.
win together. It's about making people not feel alone. And that's just
Mhm.
what it comes down to. When you're losing and you feel like you're doing everything you can, if you're top fragging on a losing team, you feel alone. And
Right.
as a captain and shot caller, what I tend to notice is that when people feel alone, they play worse,
Mhm.
and they
Mhm.
go into themselves. They become very, very like impatient. They become more tilted, and the guys bottom fragging feel hopeless. They feel alone, and then there's the person in the middle thinking, "I could be doing more, but I don't feel like I'm doing that bad. Maybe if I just stay quiet, keep doing." That person is also alone. So it's about making sure people don't feel alone and making sure that people just feel like they're together as a team, just getting the team unit back together.
I love
Another
that.
thing
That was actually a great one.
too is this is what I did with Siege a lot. You know, you'd be down like one. I always used to say like it's 1-3, not 1-4, because it was up to 4. And it's the
Mhm.
same with like, say you're down 0-4 in trials. It's just about keeping that like uh the morale high and just taking each round at a time. Obviously, it's different in scrims because it's a game mode like Clash, but it's kind of the same. Uh, like okay, we only need like 5 more team wipes. Okay, we got one. Okay, we need 4 more. Just like keeping
Yep.
that morale high.
Complimenting and running. One of my favorite
Yeah.
things is when somebody trades. They're like, "Oh, I traded." I'm like, "No, that's great. You traded. That's awesome. That's a good thing. Like you didn't go down and lose. You traded one up. That's still a positive." All right. Inspirational's back again. He says, "Let's say you're winning and the other team starts bringing it back, and you start losing, and your team starts getting heated and toxic. What do you do to help your team bring it back and win?"
Tell them to cut the bullshit.
I like it. It's
Yeah.
to the point.
Like honestly, if you're gonna be toxic, you're not helping the team. You're just venting. There for my team. Like I'll just say, like if I have a teammate, it's like I'll say, okay, call him David. David, you done? Okay, let's focus on winning now. And that, like, just giving them a reality check and say, look, it's fine. It's fine. If somebody wants to be toxic and wants to be toxic beyond like reproach, then unfortunately you kind of just have to let them do it and try your best not to get affected by it. It's tough because there are kids that will revel in the toxicity, they will revel in
Hmm.
shouting and yelling and cursing. And there's not much you can do about it in the moment. You just have to talk about it afterwards and do your best to calm them down, level with them, and just say, look, I get it. We suck and we made mistakes. Like own up to the fact that perhaps you had a hand in them losing their shit. Like see them, like meet them at their place, basically mentally, and then just say, look, it's okay.
Sure.
We did this wrong. We're gonna bring it back, and let's go again. And next time you feel like you need to shout at us, just take a second, breathe, and just look at the game. You can do like for me, it's about doing your best to try and de-escalate, and it's not all going to work all the time. It depends completely on the player. But remember, you're there to have fun. You're there to improve yourself. Competition is a natural part of it, but it doesn't have to be toxic.
Sure. Absolutely. Cap made a good point. I'm curious to see what your guys' thoughts are on this. If you're top fragging and you have an unspoken if you're top fragging, you have an unspoken responsibility to shot call and be active with comms to help your team to try and become better. Do you feel that it has to fall on the person that's top fragging?
No, never.
Mm-mm.
I didn't think so either. But
No,
that's a good way to
it
that's a good thing
is.
to dive into.
There is. I can see where Cap's coming from because usually that person is playing Captain America, like they're doing all the work. So for them, it would be a natural thing for them to lean into their team and say, look, it's okay, guys, just follow me. We'll be fine. I'm getting kills. We'll be fine. And that'd be a good thing to do. But it is never on a certain person's responsibility. It's never on a certain person's plate to shoulder a responsibility that was not previously agreed upon.
Sure.
Ever in life, in games, whatever. Like you consent to having roles in a team. And if you want to step outside, make sure you have an understanding with your team that that's okay. Like the top teams, top really tightly knit teams do this all the time. Like you look at G1 and you'll see Onyx, Potato, and um,
Panda.
Panda. Like they will interchange their shot calling. They'll interchange motivations, and they'll all egg each other on in different ways when the time requires for it. But when you're just playing pickups or face it or whatever, it's never really like you're just there to do your best
Another
and try
one.
and not get toxic, obviously, and lift your teammates up. It doesn't matter if you're bottom fragging or top fragging. IMO.
I 100% agree. The way I see it is sometimes I look at it from a kind of a general standpoint in the army. The general's not always on the front line,
Yes.
but they're still making the calls.
Yes. I agree with
It
that.
is kind of how I see it. Amphy, what are your thoughts? Do you think that the top fragger should be the one that's always calling the shots?
No, I think everybody, like, there can be a little input from everybody. Like, the top fragger could have some insight, but there could be some other insight that hasn't been like talked about that could, if you're say you're down, it could literally change the swing of the game. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think everybody's input is valuable.
There's no
absolutely.
I.
I 100% agree with that as well. All right, so Chip says, I'm a PvE man. What do you suggest as a game mindset going into PvP wanting to get better at it?
Oof. Ah.
Chips is a very, very good PvE main too. He does a lot of raid Sherpas. So he
Am-
understands weapon knowledge.
Ampy, I think you're like you went through this, didn't you?
Yeah. Um.
Great question for
Well, when
Amphy.
I started, I played a lot of PvE and then transitioned over to PvP. I was talking to Nomad about this, like when you were restarting your internet, and I watched a lot of his videos, like the 2 second rule. Like that was like like it was so useful.
Mm-hmm.
Like I very, very helpful. Just watch, like there's a lot of content out there to watch, where you might not have the same thinking, but watching those kind of videos will put you in that mindset. Um it's just it's got to be like a consistent, well, you know, just practicing, literally just playing quick play, trying to assess how you play and like what mistakes you make and how you can learn from those. Um as far as like going from PvE to PvP.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
here's my just to add on that. I agree with everything that Amphy said. Just to tack onto that, whether you're a PVE main or a PvP main, the improvement mindset doesn't really change.
Yeah.
Just because you're good at one activity or you prefer one activity doesn't mean you have to approach it in any different way. Um, when you want to improve, stay humble.
Mhm.
Assume that your current like understanding of things is wrong, and you can always learn, or just assume that you could be doing it better, basically. And seek out content from creators that isn't motivated by toxicity, isn't motivated by clickbait, isn't motivated by promoting certain services that would otherwise help you get the thing done, i.e., recovery
Sure,
services.
for sure.
Try and
Mhm.
find creators that are who really live and breathe this sort of thing. Like for me, I would 100% recommend Patty Cakes. I'd recommend Drewski. I
Mm-hmm.
recommend Cami Cakes. I'd recommend Frostbolt. Um, I would
I'd
recommend
recommend
Apathetic.
AscendantNomad. Just saying.
Bravier,
Yeah.
sure. Like I would
Brave is a
recommend
great
all
one
these
too.
guys, all these people. There's so many resources out there. We are 7 years into this franchise. There's no shortage of PvP resources out there, and there's no shortage of top tier creators who really live and breathe this sort of thing. And you could learn a lot from. Just remember, like you can't learn unless you really commit to learning, and that means assuming you're wrong, and assuming that there's a better way to do things than what you're doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the mottos that I like to say a lot is winning is teaching, losing is learning. So
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's a
that
good
makes
one.
that I like that actually. All right, we got Pitch here, and he says, "What is the best way to get into the groove of being more vocal with callouts? He has a tendency to get quiet in tunnel vision."
Whew. When it comes to being more vocal with callouts, it if you're not good at seeing the bigger picture, if you're not good at looking at your radar, looking around, then at the very least, you can still be very useful to your team if you call out what you're doing. Like one of the biggest things I learned from Kami Cakes was that he's not necessarily making callouts. Like when he's not in the fight, he's not making callouts for everybody else. He's making callouts for himself. Like he's saying, "I'm hurt. I'm behind cover. I cannot help." Like saying "I
Mm-hmm.
cannot help" is huge because it lets your team know that okay, they're in a 2v3. Whatever situation they're in, they're a man down.
Mm-hmm.
Saying that I'm helping. That means I'm with you. I'm shooting with you. Whatever you're doing, I'm with you. It's a good basic call out that gives people motivation. I'm helping you. I'm with you. I'm not with you. Like it's very clear, it's very direct. And something that people should get used to is just like practice talking to yourself. Like go into sixes solo and just commentate yourself. Like just say, "Oh, there's a guy around the corner. I'm gonna try and take it. Oh no, I died. Whatever." It doesn't have to be good. It's just about getting in the practice of talking, like live commentate yourself, basically. Even if it's mundane. Oh, they're on A, whatever. Like
Mm-hmm.
I have I tried this for the first time a few weeks ago in a recent video, and it's like I feel like my live commentary. If you compare it to some other people, it's probably not that good, but there are still people. There's still things people can pick up on uh, in the course of game. You'd be surprised what you'd say. You'd be surprised with what you'd be able to produce. So I would say just practice it, and if you can, record it and listen back to it, and then you'll be able to judge for yourself whether what you're saying is actually useful or if you're just basically just filling the air with the noise.
Absolutely. I
Sorry
love
for the
that.
long answer.
No, no, no. I love that. Ampy, what have you found to get yourself to communicate more in more of a competitive setting like trials? What has been some of your trigger points to get you to talk more and help
um
people? Does
I
you
would
need
say
to feel like you're helping?
just like know it like callouts was huge in Siege. So just watching a lot of streams and seeing what they call out and what that
Agreed.
call out goes
That's a good
to
one too.
is like
Big agree with that.
huge. So like if I didn't like I'll lurk a lot of like scrim stuff and like listen to their call outs, and that has like taught me a lot, and I could be like, oh, he's like here, like he's secret, and like and then in my brain it's like, okay, I'm here. And like Nomad was saying with Cami Cakes, you know, kind of commentating like your own gameplay and calling out, okay, I'm lit, I can't help. I'm one shot. Okay, I have an enemy that's one shot. I need help if you can, like that sort of stuff.
Sure, sure. Yeah, no, that actually makes perfect sense. That's one of the fun ones too, is trying to figure out everybody's call outs. It really is. Because everybody's got, their own specific call outs. Um, there's like, if we use Jab for an example, right? You've got Diamond Door, you've got Green Diamond Door, you've got
Another
Red
one.
Diamond Door, you've got Jump Out, you've got Divider. It's all relative. A lot of people, like the big one that I run to a lot in scrims and face it, is the difference between Divider and Comp Heavy.
Mm,
That one is the one that I've caught a lot of people calling two different ways. So I'm kind of excited. It's a great tangent for us to jump into the practical. We're going to take a small break. You guys can grab some water, go to use the restroom. If chat has any other questions, they can type in chat and ask you guys. They'll be able to hear while we're on. Be right back, and then we'll try and bring some people in. Let's teach Wormhaven. This should be a
sure.
fun one. This is a very underrated map, in my opinion. It is one of my favorites, and it's played a lot less for the jab, the dead cliffs, the burnout. So I'm looking forward to it. I really am. Chat, if you have questions, feel free to ask in here. Otherwise, we are going to queue up. I will drop my join code, and we'll get it going. Sweet.
All right.